Welcome back, guys. So we now have our completed plan. Board is laid out, we know what each square is going to have on it, and just like with the previous boards, each one of those sections has then been carefully laid out on the board with Sharpie. Now I'm going to go back for our first step into the tutorial process to this board. We saw it before. It's the board on which we're going to lay our statue. Now I decided when I designed it that I wanted a raised plinth in the centre. Now we already know that the statue comes on his own little raised plinth, but I wanted to just lift him up a little bit, give him a bit more height. The road's going to kind of make its way around him, so I want him to be visibly different. We're also going to have our first section of thin 25mm pavement here. So first thing I'm going to do, I have some unmarked modular movement trays, and these we're going to use to create our raised sections. So I know that I'm going to need a 6x6 raised central area here. So first thing I'm going to do the same thing as I've done before. I'm just going to mark it with the pen so I know where I'm cutting. Now, because the modular movement tray is nice and safely scored, easy to use, we can cut straight onto it. I'm going to put another piece of tray underneath just to stop me from cutting all the way through. I very much doubt that I will though. And I'm going to use the hobby knife. You'll notice mine has safety tape on, so I always know where it is. Now, if you are, for any reason, a minor or incapable of using a knife on your own, like some of my adult customers, including myself, you probably require adult supervision. When cutting, always cut away from yourself. So you'll see here I'm standing and I'm cutting in a diagonal line. If I slip, the blade's going to go right past me and off to nothingness. So I'm going to take my knife, I'm going to score following the lines on the board. So the modular movement tray has guided me to where I need to cut. Now I'm going to have to make a few more scores before I make it all the way through, because the movement tray is made of nice, thick, solid plastic. Alright, finally reaching that point where it snaps. And that's what we want to hear, a little crack of the plastic coming apart. Normally that's a bad sound, but when we're doing this particular task, it's a good noise. There we go. So now we have our central plinth. Now this just gives a couple of millimeters raise to the area it's going to be on. Take the knife, again, cutting down towards the tray and away from ourselves. We're just going to tidy these lines up a little bit. Again, we're expecting a little bit of battle damage as we work the thing together, so they don't have to be perfect. We just want to get rid of any really obvious juts, any sharp edges, anything that looks like it was cut with a knife. Alright, so now that's done, make sure our board is clean and we don't have stuff in the way. And we look at that, and we can now see that it can be laid as the next layer. Here's our lovely thick plastic glue. Just going to crack this open. So we have our first step. Now all I'm going to do is run a nice hefty line of plastic glue around the edge, and to make sure it sticks down solidly in the middle, I'm also going to put a nice big cross. So you stick in a flat platform, nice and easy. Turn it over, lay it in place, try and line it up as best we can with the existing grid, stick it down. And the next thing we need is the 4x4 grid in the middle. And there we have basis for our plinth. Then we just take the plinth from the Space Marine statue, again scraping away from ourselves. We clean up any mould pieces that happen to be left. Now I've got a few left because I just nipped this guy off really quickly to demonstrate to you guys, but now it's ready. It needs to actually be cleaned up. So make sure we've got no flash left. Again, we're doing scenery, so thin glue is really not a necessity. Get our nice thick glue, run it along the edge of the statue base here. Stick it in place, and as we do so, we try and aim it so it is as central as possible in that final square. So now we have a plinth section, which if we angle it, we can see will be raised in little steps towards the statue, where the statue will stand dominating the whole thing. Put our knife blade away, nice and safe, lid on our glue, and we've completed our first tile. Alright, I'll come back to you in a minute. Next one coming up.